Most governments prefer change in tiny, polite updates. History, however, occasionally selects install everything now. Crowns fall, flags change, new ideas escape into the world, and suddenly every ruler is checking whether the crowd outside looks a little too organized. Today we are counting down 10 political revolutions that changed history. The ranking is based on global influence, the scale of political change, and the length of the shadow each revolution cast. It is not a ranking of which one was morally best. Revolutions are rarely that tidy. Let the historical chaos begin. Number 10. The Glorious Revolution of 1688. King James II had managed to alarm much of England's political establishment with his Catholicism, his use of royal power, and the very real possibility of a Catholic dynasty. A group of English nobles invited the Dutch ruler William of Orange to intervene. William landed with an army, James fled, and William and Mary took the throne. The transfer was relatively bloodless in England, though fighting followed elsewhere in Britain and Ireland. The Bill of Rights of 1689 restricted royal power and strengthened Parliament. England still had a monarchy, but the royal job description had acquired terms and conditions. Number 9. The Mexican Revolution. By 1910, Porfirio Diaz had dominated Mexico for more than 3 decades. Railways and industry had expanded, but land and wealth were concentrated. Political opposition was restricted, and many rural communities paid the bill. Francisco Madero challenged Diaz. Rebellion spread, and Diaz resigned in 1911. Then the revolution became a complicated fight over what should replace him. Emiliano Zapata demanded land reform. Pancho Villa commanded forces in the north. Venustiano Carranza built a constitutionalist coalition. The Constitution of 1917 promised land reform, labor rights, and national control over resources. The fighting continued, but Mexico's political and social order had been permanently rewritten. Number 8. The Iranian Revolution of 1979. Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi promoted rapid modernization and remained closely aligned with the West, but his rule was authoritarian. Political repression, inequality, cultural tensions, and anger over foreign influence brought very different opposition groups into the streets. In 1978, demonstrations and strikes grew despite deadly crackdowns. The Shah left Iran in January 1979. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile, and the monarchy collapsed in February. A broad revolution against one ruler became an Islamic republic led by clerical authority. Iran's alliances, institutions, and regional role changed almost overnight. The revolution did not merely replace a leader, it changed the political language of the Middle East. Number 7. The Cuban Revolution. Fulgencio Batista seized power in 1952 and ruled through dictatorship, repression, and close ties to powerful economic interests. In 1953, Fidel Castro's attack on the Moncada barracks failed spectacularly. Prison and exile followed. But in 1956, Castro, his brother Raúl, Che Guevara, and a small rebel force returned aboard the Granma and built a guerrilla campaign in the Sierra Maestra. By January 1959, Batista had fled. The new government soon aligned with the Soviet Union and established a one-party socialist state. That placed Cuba at the center of Cold War confrontation, from the Bay of Pigs to the missile crisis. Small island, superpower-sized consequences. Number 6. The Xinhai Revolution of 1911. China's Qing dynasty faced foreign pressure, military defeats, economic strain, and growing demands for reform. Revolutionary groups wanted a republic. Reformers wanted the dynasty to modernize faster. The dynasty tried to do both, just late enough to satisfy nobody. In October 1911, the Wuchang Uprising triggered provincial revolts across China. Sun Yat-sen became provisional president, and the child emperor Puyi abdicated in February 1912. More than 2,000 years of imperial rule had ended. The new republic, however, struggled with warlordism and fragmentation. The revolution successfully deleted the dynasty. Installing stability would take considerably longer. Number 5. The Haitian Revolution. Saint-Domingue was France's richest Caribbean colony, and one of the most brutal slave societies in the Atlantic world. In 1791, enslaved people launched a massive uprising. Leaders including Toussaint Louverture turned rebellion into organized political and military power. European empires invaded, alliances shifted, and France abolished slavery in the colony, before Napoleon sent an expedition to restore French control. Haitian forces under Jean-Jacques Dessalines defeated the French, and Haiti declared independence in 1804. It became the first independent black republic, and the only state created by a successful revolt of enslaved people. Haiti forced the Age of Liberty to confront its most obvious question: liberty for whom? Number 4. The Chinese Communist Revolution. After the 1911 revolution, China entered decades of fragmentation, invasion, and civil war. The nationalist Kuomintang and the Chinese Communist Party competed for control, briefly cooperated against Japan, then resumed their struggle after the Second World War. Mao Zedong's communists built support across large rural areas, while Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist government was weakened by war, inflation, and corruption. In 1949, communist forces won control of mainland China. Mao proclaimed the People's Republic on October 1st. The nationalist government retreated to Taiwan. The revolution transformed land ownership, government, society, and the global balance of power. The China shaping the 21st century begins, politically, at this moment. Number 3. The Russian Revolution. And technically, 1917 delivered 2 years of inequality, political repression, food shortages, and catastrophic losses in the First World War shattered confidence in Tsar Nicholas II. In February, strikes and demonstrations erupted in Petrograd. Soldiers joined the crowds, and the Tsar abdicated. A provisional government took power, but continued the war and failed to solve the crisis. In October, Lenin's Bolsheviks seized key institutions and overthrew that government. Civil war followed. In 1922, the Soviet Union was formed. The revolution created the first durable communist state, inspired movements across the world, and set up the ideological conflict that would define much of the 20th century. Number 2. The American Revolution. Britain's 13 mainland colonies objected to taxation, imperial control, and the lack of colonial representation in Parliament. Protest escalated into war in 1775. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence argued that legitimate government rested on rights and the consent of the governed. History's most consequential breakup letter. With crucial French support, the colonies won independence, recognized in 1783. The new United States built a republic, and later a written federal constitution that influenced political movements around the world. But its universal language arrived with enormous exclusions. Slavery remained, indigenous nations faced expansion, and women lacked political equality. The revolution's power came from both its ideas and the unfinished argument over who those ideas actually included. Number 1. The French Revolution. In 1789, France faced crushing debt, an unequal tax system, political deadlock, and bread prices that made daily survival a crisis. The Estates General met. The Third Estate declared itself a national assembly, and Parisians stormed the Bastille. Feudal privileges were abolished. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen announced liberty and legal equality, while women and enslaved people still had to fight to make those claims universal. The monarchy fell. A republic rose. Then came war, factional struggle, the Terror, and eventually Napoleon. The revolution spread nationalism, citizenship, secular law, and mass politics across Europe and beyond. It even gave politics the labels left and right, based on where factions sat in the assembly. Few revolutions changed so much, or showed so brutally how quickly liberation can collide with power. These revolutions did not produce simple happy endings. They produced constitutions, republics, nationalism, communism, anti-colonial resistance, new states, and new forms of repression. History does not move in a straight line. Pressure builds, institutions crack, and suddenly the impossible becomes the morning news. Which revolution belongs on this list, and which ranking would you change? Tell us in the comments. For more quirky history and global stories, like, share, subscribe, and keep traveling through time with Passport Studios.